Okay, thanks everybody for returning after lunch. And I hope that the session that we're going to provide this afternoon keeps everyone energised. When Fred asked me if I'd be on a panel to discuss work placement, you've heard that I manage our work placement program for New South Wales. It's worth noting that we do place over 60,000 students with employers every year on a week's structured work placement, and we do that on behalf of the Catholic, independent and government schools as well as our EVET colleagues, and I do want to acknowledge my colleagues in the room here today. But we largely do that through the ability and the expertise of our work placement service providers. Megan spoke to you before lunch on behalf of the Youth Network, Youth Futures Network, which is a kind of, I guess, an umbrella group when we talk about work placement providers as one entity. But across the state, everywhere, we've got providers who are working with our schools, with our employers, to ensure that students get high-quality work placements. And there was a lot of discussion this morning, whether it was the vet review, whether it was things that Ellen had to say, or Mary Claire about the coalface. And going back to where I started from, I thought we would do a very simple presentation about the coalface. That is the interaction between what we want our students to be when they get out of school. They're trained, they're doing their coursework, but when they go and engage with an employer, what employers want from our students and what our students want to get out of work placement. And so this presentation is, I'm going to hand over to Catherine in a moment, who will explain it far better than I can, a way where we've engaged with our young people to create, I guess, a service that's available to every school in the state that is offering vocational education subjects with a work placement. A work placement service provider will come out and deliver this resource to your school, and that's really what we want you to understand. This is something we think will make our students better, but for your teachers as well. Part of the equation we sometimes miss is making our teachers advocates for work placement. Work placement isn't an add-on, it's what we require with our courses in New South Wales. And it's important, I guess, students learn from teachers. Where we have teachers who are really supportive of work placement, then the students do better in work placement. Where we can provide resources to make that work placement as good as we can, then we get better results. I'm going to say that's all from me. I'm going to pass over to Catherine, and she'll do a much more persuasive job than me. Thank you.
Okay, thanks Brendan. You kept to time, which is great. So, are you ready? So that is the critical question that I am going to answer today. So we... Unfortunately, our research showed that students weren't actually ready for their work placements. Now, this not only impacts their success, but also the safety and compliance of work placement, which has a huge impact on us all in the room with coordinating work placements. Excuse me. So, us as an organisation, we recognise this challenge and we wanted to do better. So we asked ourselves, how do we truly get into the minds of 16 to 17-year-olds? I'm sure you've all asked yourselves that 1,000 times. The answer is by asking them directly, and that's what we did. So in 2021-22, we collaborated with our Youth Council to give students a voice, and their insights have shaped our Are You Ready session. So we understand as teachers that your duty of care extends way beyond the classroom, and preparing students for work placement can be overwhelming in an already demanding role. That's where we come in as your local work placement service providers. So in our region, we work with over 80 schools and we listen to their needs. We revamped our approach and based on the feedback from students and host employers, the results have been remarkable. So today I'm here to share with you how our Are You Ready session can make a significant difference. Without further action, we risk losing the potential to support over 60,000 vet students statewide effectively. And seriously, I guess what could go wrong if we sent them out with no direction or misinformation? Seriously. What do you think could go wrong? Well, I've got a 16-year-old, so I know, and I'm sure you all work with 16, 17-year-olds, so you know as well. So together we can ensure that every student is ready to embark on their work placement journey confidently and safely. So, what the Youth Council told us. They highlighted several key areas for us to consider. They really did not know what to expect or what was expected of them. They wanted to know what they would be asked to do. They were concerned about being asked to do tasks they would not know how to perform. They were anxious and nervous, a bit like me today, about walking into a room unknown, making that phone call prior to the host employee the week prior was absolutely nerve-wracking. It terrified them. So addressing misconceptions and myths around work placement, like hours required to work in the real world, then it's not school hours, they're out on construction sites, 6 a.m. starts, and the mindset that they are free labour for the week. Yes, they really do think they're free labour for their host employers. So providing relatable student testimonials, hearing from their peers was really important to them, focusing on the work health and safety concerns, and hearing from host employers themselves about why they actually host students. They wanted to know why they do it. So we were hearing that students knew it was compulsory to do their work placement hours, but what was the purpose of it? Their feedback has been invaluable in reshaping our approach to better serve the students' needs and address their concerns. So, engaging content. So we created a presentation with engaging content that covers detailed activities and expectations for the various industries. So the presentation is customised to the course that the student is studying. We also offer practical advice for handling common situations like feeling unwell during placement, making that nervous call, first-time introductions. We have myths and misconceptions about work placements with the use of fact and fake statements. We also highlight the importance of work health and safety through really engaging content, video content that also has the shock factor that they love. And of course, the necessary paperwork. So not only how to complete it, but the importance of the paperwork. So we worked with a professional presentation company to put together our content and ensure it was engaging and memorable to the students. So you can see in our slide deck, the colours, the imagery, there's animations, transitions, there's quizzes and short student and host videos throughout. There's also audience participation scheduled throughout to ensure students are engaged and the content is memorable. The content ensures that students are well prepared and aware of what to expect, making them more confident and effective in their placements. So it's a win-win for all of us involved in coordinating work placements. So we don't just stop at the presentation, we offer post-delivery support. We have resources available. I've got a guide which I'll make available after this session to show you. It's a brochure that the students walk away with that they can take home to their parents. It's to refresh their memory and encourage them to look over the checklist and the preparation tips again when it's time to go out on placement. It also highlights a success story to motivate and inspire. And Brendan, it is a real Brendan story in the brochure. You'll all see that in the brochure soon. And it also contains clear expectations and tips to making the most out of their placement. So our goal is to provide ongoing support and to ensure that students are not only ready for work placement, but they thrive in their placement. So the results, they speak for themselves. we've seen a significant increase in student confidence and preparedness. For example, in our region, 92% of students entered their work placement feeling ready and equipped. That was from the surveys earlier this year for Term 1 and Term 2. Here's what Margaret, one of our host employers, had to say recently about one of her students. Zach was great. He was a quick learner, showed enthusiasm and initiative. It was a pleasure to have him and will make a great apprentice. I recommend trying to sign him up. So our schools are also really happy with the new presentation. We've seen an increase in uptake from 39% of schools booking a session in 21-22. And now with the introduction of this new session, 80% of schools in our region have already booked a session this year. So we're up to 55 sessions and still going. These success stories and positive feedback highlight the impact of this program and the importance of thorough preparation. So you ask, how can you get your hands on it? Well, I'm here to share with you today that you all have access to this wonderful program now. This session is being used as best practice work placement preparation across all our work placement service providers in New South Wales. If you haven't already, I strongly encourage you to get in touch with your providers and offer it to your vet students. We've got all our providers in the room today. If you want to give us a wave. So please reach out. As I said, it's a great resource and it's a way that we can shape the student success in work placement. So thank you for your time. I've got our QR code there at the Youth Partnership. You can start to follow us and see our many initiatives taking vet into the future. And I look forward to some question time later on in the session. Thanks.